Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Ryan Epps Fishing. Today we're going to try to make you a better crankbait fisherman as we review and talk about one of my favorite crankbaits, the Bandit 200 and 300 series crankbaits. Y'all enjoy. Alright guys, let's dive into the meat of these bandits here. If you're looking at these two baits, we got the 200 series over here on the left. We have got the 300 series over here on the right. Now, if you're thinking that the bodies of these baits look pretty similar, you'd be right. They are identical bodies. These are both 2-inch baits, okay? The only thing that is changed from the Bandit 200 to the Bandit 300 is the bill, okay? The 300's got a longer bill. It's got just a little bit of weight in the end of the bill here. That's going to allow this bait to get that additional 4 foot out of it. This one will run down to 12. The 200 will run down to 8. All right. Now, as far as the body, this is a plastic body, plastic construction, okay? And you can actually see, this is one that I'd sanded down to paint. Plastic body. The rattle is pretty cool about this lure. Here's your rattle chamber. If I can hold on to it. Here's your rattle chamber right here. Okay? It's got a single ball bearing in it. That gives this bait that one knocker sound. Alright? Now, let's talk about the hardware on this lure. I've never had a problem out of the split rings. Split rings from the factory have always been really good. Okay? Hooks. Bandit did something really cool here. Used to, when you bought a Bandit, you would just about always have to change the hooks out. Okay? Here recently, and I'm not saying that they all have it on it, because in fact I bought one the other day that didn't. Most of the new Bandits come with triple grips on them. That's really cool, because that means that you're not going to have to change these hooks out. You can pull it out of the pack and go straight to fishing with it. If you get some that does not have the triple grips on it, I highly recommend changing these out to the Mustad KVD 1x strong, 2x short triple grip treble hooks. That's what these are right here. These are really good hooks. It comes stock with number 6 hooks on it, okay? Now, for those of you that like to upsize when you go up to the Mustad triple grips, on these small body crankbaits, I don't upsize the hooks, okay? You're not dealing with a whole lot of body right here to absorb that extra weight. So I keep it with the number 6s when I trade them out. Works really, really good, okay? They handle these hooks great. All right, guys, let's move on to colors. We're going to start with winter. Winter, especially here in these East Tennessee lakes, the fish are really feeding on crayfish, okay? I like to stick with these reds, oranges, and natural crawl colors, okay? They work really well in the wintertime months. As winter starts to transition over to spring, you get that early spring transition time. Let me show you a sleeper color here. This is a color I've had a lot of success with. These yellow-brown crawl patterns. These are your early pre-spawn colors. Smallmouth love this color that time of the year. This is your March around here. Early March, late February colors. Does really, really good. Okay, transitioning to the spawn. That's when I'm going to pick up your bluegill patterns. All right? I don't get really picky with this. Anything that imitates a bluegill, these work really good. They've got several different bluegill colors. Pick you up one. Most of the time you're going to be throwing it in this 200 series because the fish are going to be so shallow. That will take care of your spawn. Post-spawn, those fish are going to start transitioning to shad colors. All right? They got, once again, they got a lot of shad colors, okay? Keep it simple. Here's some good ones. Plain white, okay? Little orange on the belly. Shad colors, natural. I think this is the their herring pattern, okay? Mimics a small shad really good. Here's your silvers. They make silver black, silver blue. Anything that's going to imitate a shad. That's what I'm going to be throwing post-spawn and any time in the summer that those fish are going to be shallow, okay? If the water starts to dirty up a little bit, if it's not real muddy, I'll take this really natural color here and I'll just start to go a little bit darker. All right, here's your Tennessee shad pattern. It's got a black back. It's a little bit darker. It's going to give it a little bit more contrast in that slightly stained water. Here's another one. I think this is copper shad, something like that. Now, we go from slightly stained to muddy. That's when we're going to go extreme. Here is your killer muddy color right here. Black back, chartreuse sides. This one right here is deadly in that muddy water. It's got a lot of contrast, okay? You can also throw the greenback chartreuses, blueback chartreuses, and I'll tell you something else. This color right here is a sleeper in the winter, okay? There's something about this shot color, especially on smallmouth. They will destroy this color in the wintertime even. You don't have to have muddy water. A lot of people think that you got to have muddy water to throw something bright like this. That is not the case. In fact, I was fishing out the other day. It was overcast. There's not a lot of light getting down in the water, okay? And this shot color was the deal. So pick up those shot colors anytime you don't have a lot of clarity in the water, whether it be from a lack of sunlight, stained water, anything like that. This is a really good color. You can throw this melon. Here's another one, some green, little silver side chartreuse. Anything like that will be really good. Now, if they're feeding really heavily on threadfin, here's something to remember. A threadfin shad has got more chartreuse in it than just about any other bait. So even if the water's clear, in fact, threadfin around here, we actually call them yellowtails here in East Tennessee. I like to have a little bit of chartreuse on there, not too much, but just a little bit. Like you see on this one, it's got the chartreuse belly. This thing right here will mimic a threadfin perfect, okay? Now, another factor to consider when picking up any crankbait is the action. I've got a little clip for you here. I did some slow motion footage of this bait in the water. I want you to take a look at it and then we'll talk about it. So as you can see in the video there, this bait has got what I would classify as a semi-wide wobble. It's got a pretty wide wobble, but if we're comparing this to the standard of wide wobbling crankbaits, which in my opinion is like a storm wigglewort, which has an extremely wide wobble, this is less side-to-side wobble than a wigglewort, but it does have more than another small body crankbait like a Bomber Model 6A. So pick this one up when those bass are in that feeding mode and they're wanting something a little more aggressive, not as aggressive as a wigglewort, but something more aggressive than, say, a Rapala DT series or a Bomber 6A. And that is when you're going to find that this bait works the best. Okay guys, let's talk about what you're going to throw this bait on. I throw this lure on a 7'6" Ducket Ghost medium heavy cranking rod. It's got a really good parabolic action bend. It'll let you whip those lures out a long way and get them out there where you need to be. I pair that up with a Quantum Smoke S3. I like a 6-to-1 gear ratio with these small body crankbaits. Now, in the wintertime, I have been known to go down to a 5-to-1 gear ratio reel. That's when I'll pull out that Abu Garcia Revo winch and sling it around when it's really cold out there. Those bass are lethargic, and I'm just creeping that crankbait down along those rocks. Now, you can, if you're having trouble throwing it on a casting setup, you can go down to a spinning rod. There's not a problem with that at all. In fact, I do it when I'm trying to get an extra foot or so out of that lure, especially the 200s. You can always pick the spinning rod up, throw 8-pound line on it. Don't go smaller, don't go bigger in line. 8 pound is what you want for that. Keep it on 100% fluorocarbon on both your casting and spinning setups. I recommend the Sunline Assassin. It does really good. 10-pound test line on the casting setups, 8-pound test line on the spinning setups. You can go up to 12 on the casting if you're fishing in some gnarly rock cover and you're having problems with line fray. So this setup right here, proven that it works. Give it a try if you're having trouble. I think you'll like it. If you're in the market for a new small body crankbait, go ahead and give these Bandits a try. I know you're gonna like them. If you like the videos, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, or if you want to recommend another small body crankbait, leave that down in the comments section. Until next time, y'all keep cranking and have a good one.